Hey everybody, we're gonna get everything situated here. So, do you want me to press that button?
I'll push it.
Got it.
We're gonna start YouTube.
Okay. We also have the YouTube live streaming. Hey Katie.
Hi YouTubers.
Hey everybody. So we're gonna have different cameras going on. Todd's gonna be looking at his camera or his phone for any comments or questions you have if you want to talk with us. So welcome to our show. Hey, how are you doing, Nancy?
Hi Nancy.
Hey, how's it going? So ready to do this?
Yeah, let me share to...
All right, he's sharing to a different thing,
Twitter
and then we're going to
audience.
get going on this. So, perfect.
Okay. So I just
turn off your volume. So this is live for audio listeners only. We are doing live, so we're talking with anybody who has comments on Periscope, and we have YouTube Live going on as well. Are we ready to do this?
Nancy, we're good. We're doing good.
We're doing well, Nancy, so thank you. You ready?
All right. Yeah, I shared it, and now I just want to... Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. All right, so
Start
let's...
with the nerd news.
We're going to start with the weekly nerd news. So happy May 28th, everybody. So a couple sequels have been announced this week. We have Boss Baby 2 coming to theaters in 2021. The first one did really well, so Alec Baldwin's going to come and do his cookies are for closers character yet again. As well as Columbia Pictures are doing Angry Birds, the movie 2, in 2019.
How'd the first one do?
It did relatively well. It didn't make a lot of money, but compared to other studio films, it was actually pretty profitable. So, of course, there's going to be a sequel. And the 2019 is actually the 10th anniversary. It's coming out September 20th, 2019, which is significant because that's the 10-year reunion of that game coming out into the marketplace.
It's been out for 10 years?
It's been out for 10 years of a bunch of birds being thrown at pigs and eggs. Thanks you so much for the hearts, everybody. Pretty awesome. So last week we had Spider-Man news. Spider-Man news on Venom with Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
And this week, Sony Pictures hired Gina Prince Blythewood to direct Silver and Black, which that is also going to be part of the Spider-Man universe, which is Silver Sable and Black Cat. So it's going to be those two female characters. What's really cool about the director is she just got done directing the pilot for Marvel's The Cloak and Dagger show that's on Freeform, and that she also finished The Shots Fired. It was a limited edition show on Fox that she created and wrote with her husband.
Right.
So it's really cool that we're getting an awesome female director to be helming a female-centric superhero show.
Lately.
It's very cool,
especially
and
in the superhero
that's a
genre.
good thing. It's usually been dominated by dudes, so definitely.
What was that
I don't. We're not going to be drinking right now. It's not that time.
We got a troll.
Yeah, we have a little.
No trolls, guys.
It's all good. So last week we talked about Supernatural. Next season, good news, they're going to have that Scooby-Doo animated episode. Bad news is Mark Sheppard, who plays Crowley, who plays the devil, basically. He's not going to be on the show anymore. If you saw the end of this last season on season 12, it makes sense why he's not going to be on the 13th season. But it's bad. I mean, I haven't kept up with the show for a while, but he was pretty cool. He started 2009, and in the 10th season he became a regular, and now he's going a separate way. So, did you like the first Deadpool?
I loved it.
Yes.
I thought it was great.
We have more casting for Deadpool 2. So we have Jack
I'm really looking forward to that
Kesey.
one.
Yeah, he's been hired as the main villain for Deadpool 2. There's speculation he's going to be Black Tom, but we don't really know. It's okay, Nancy. Our show's going to be on Twitter, so you can check out that and watch the show. So have a nice night. Sad news for Warner Brothers. Doug Liman backed out of directing Justice League Dark, which was going to be like a huge movie for the DC universe, but that's because it's just timing. He is tied up with the Lionsgate young adult, what's potentially going to be a franchise starring Daisy Ridley from Star Wars, and Tom Holland, who's the new Spider-Man. They're going to have a movie called Chaos Walking, which is like a young adult novel series. So I like Doug Liman. I was looking forward to him directing this because I think Warner Brothers needs really strong directors for their films.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm a little bummed that he had to leave, but hopefully they'll find somebody else.
Yeah.
So Tom Cruise this week announced that they're filming Top Gun 2 next year.
Right.
So that's definitely... I was kind of surprised by that. I'm looking forward to Top Gun 2 as long as Tom doesn't sing in it. I love you, Tom Cruise. You're like my favorite actor, but you can't sing. This is your intervention.
You know they're going to have another piano scene.
I really hope not. I really hope we can all band together and maybe sign a petition and change.org or something.
They're going to do it.
Yeah. How are you feeling about it? Are you...
About the movie? Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, yeah.
So, I'm hoping he doesn't do karaoke. You're the volleyball guy. Are you excited about a potential another volleyball scene?
One of my pet peeves is I hate when they put sports in movies or TV and the people are so unathletic. It's one of my
You didn't think he was amazing in softball or volleyball?
No. Well, they actually did a pretty good job of editing it to make him look like he did. But I play volleyball and I played basketball in college, so I kind of understand like who's good and who's not. In the show 13 Reasons Why, they had like a taller Asian guy playing basketball, and he was probably the worst athlete that I've ever seen them try to portray him as an athlete.
Ooh.
It was awful.
What was bad about him playing basketball?
I've seen that show. I don't know, he was just dribbling like uncoordinated as can be. So, okay, that didn't... There must be a time limit on
Yeah,
that.
that's fine.
Yeah.
So you're kind of hoping that they don't...
Yeah.
Or at least maybe in the 10 years or it's longer than that. The 20
maybe
years.
he practiced. Maybe Tom practiced some volleyball. Maybe
Here's
he got
hoping.
really good.
I think Tom should just stick to running because he runs in every movie.
Fine. Yeah, he runs and he runs
and
you don't look at him like, oh man, that guy's super unathletic. he pulls that off. But in any other sport, I don't think he's good.
He's super tiny. So
David Duchovny is a good basketball player. Like in X-Files, he shot pretty well. You could tell he was a pretty good athlete.
Nice.
I was like, nice. Good
yeah, it's
job.
Cool when they actually have those.
Yeah, you
skills.
could tell, like, he was just shooting around normal, and he probably does it on his spare time. That's good.
No.
But, like, actors can't, portray that they're an athlete if they're not. It's
right.
tough. It's like
they need some lessons or something.
You can't act that,
Yeah.
That's tough.
So a little bit of sad news
Yeah,
this week.
Steve, we do answer questions. Which questions?
Yes, we do. So feel free to ask questions that are related to what we're talking about, and we'll be happy.
Sorry if we might have missed a few. We're kind of rambling.
Yeah, it's totally fine.
Kind of on our rants of the night.
So sad news this week. Roger
sad?
Moore died.
Yes.
So that was really sad. He was one of my favorite Bonds. So I love Live and Let Die, even though I wish Moonraker was never a thing.
Yeah.
But it was sad. I mean, he was a great actor, and I heard really good things about him. Another sad news I just kind of want to get out of the way is that Joss Whedon has stepped in to finish directing Justice League.
Oh, right.
Because the Snyders have family tragedy, so they kind of just move on. And really, it's mostly like post production and just smaller pickup stuff.
Yeah.
But we
everyone say a prayer for the Snyder family.
Yeah, we wish the Snyder family.
That's an awful situation.
Yeah. So, but it's nice because Joss is now in the Warner Brothers family. He's going to be directing Batgirl.
Yeah.
So it was nice of him to kind of step in, and here's hoping.
If Cable won't play villain in Deadpool 2, what role do you think he'll have?
Well, I mean, Cable and Deadpool were mostly buddies. They had their own series together, and I think Cable was annoyed with Deadpool, but they were good friends in that. Oh, they were friends. I'm not going to say they were good friends because Wade was definitely annoyed Cable to no end, and especially during the Civil War comic book series, they had a little falling out because Deadpool wanted to work for the government, and Cable saw what that meant for the future with the Superhero Registration Act and did not want that. So they actually, there was a point where Deadpool was trying to hunt down Cable. So, anyway, I mean, we'll see what happens. But I didn't think that they were going to fight at all either. So, but I thought it was definitely going to be interesting.
He said he thought he'd be a bad guy that turned good.
Yeah, it's complicated because Cable knows what he's from the future and he time travels and he knows what's going on. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of
supernatural talk?
Yeah, when you watch back the video, you'll see what we talk about with Supernatural. Yeah. Yes, Jensen Ackles.
Yeah, we just kind of talked about.
So we talked about that. One of the big characters that's been around for a long time will no longer be in the 13th season, which is next season. So moving on. So to lighter stuff, I want to get kind of the heavier stuff out of the way at the start. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Cartoon Network set DC Superhero Girls tune for 2018. So that is Wonder Woman, Supergirl, and Batgirl. They're teenage girls trying to balance their superpowers and secret identities with managing a social life. So we're going to quickly move past that continuity error in a show. Sam Mendes, the great Sam Mendes, dramatic director, he is in early talks to direct Disney's Pinocchio, the live action. Disney's doing a lot of this live action stuff, which at first I
Didn't they try to get Justin Bieber to be in the Pinocchio?
I think that sounds hilarious.
It would be hilarious, and he
I don't
declined.
know if it's true.
That could have been fake news.
Yeah, it could have been.
No, that was quite a while ago.
That would have.
Yeah, that would have been funny.
Would have been interesting. How do you feel about the cartoons being turned into live action? Have you seen any of them that they've done so far?
What do you mean?
Like they just came out with Beauty and the Beast.
Oh,
Last
yeah,
year was Jungle Book.
I actually saw Beauty and the Beast, and I thought that was kind of good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
Did you
that
see
one
it?
quite yet. I have.
It was good.
I saw Jungle Book, and it was amazing.
Generally not my kind of genre. I don't.
He doesn't like musicals.
Yeah.
He doesn't at all.
It's
like he has.
All
a
my
hate
friends
for him.
know I just don't go to musicals. I just don't do it.
No, he hates them.
But
How's it
I
going?
have respect for them, but I just don't personally like to see them.
He's saying that, but on camera. Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was a great movie, and I thought it was entertaining.
Yeah, and like to someone just commented that with the money that Beauty and the Beast made, there's no slowing down, and it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, they're talking about Jon Favreau's even going to be directing the sequel to the Jungle Book. Yeah. So, which will be, I thought the first one was amazing, but I don't know what they do with the sequel. Right. So we'll see what happens. So I don't with Sam Mendes, he's a very serious director, so we'll see where that takes it. So James Wan has come aboard. He's the Fast and the Furious one of the director dudes. So he has come forward. He's going to be producing the first of the Resident Evil reboots from a script by Greg Russo, and it's going to be an entirely new cast. And this is the segment of the show where I like to call "Stop It." You guys just came out with the sixth Resident Evil movie, and you promised it was going to be the last one. It was. They're all bad. They're all stop, please. I'm one of those because I mean
they're money machines. They're just going to keep making them. But when studios get.
Yeah, no, I know. And, we hear all the time people saying, quit making reboots and all this stuff, but you and I are in the industry, we understand that these make a lot of money, and it all depends on your take and everything like that, but for God's sake, stop Resident Evil movies. They're so bad. And
there's so many.
Oh my God. And with Mila Jovovich, who I like, but those movies are terrible. And then, I've seen most of them. The last one I saw had Wentworth Miller in it from Prison Break.
3 of them.
You are lucky. Yeah. Because the thing that I also hate about it is the very end would have some twist where that's interesting to hook you in to see the sequel. And then the sequel starts and they're like, we're not talking about that. We're going to ignore it completely. And they're about, stop with Resident Evil. Just stop. Please. I'm begging you. Please. You can make any other. I've seen pretty much every video game adaptation that's been a movie. But please. Please stop making Resident Evil. Okay. So. CBS just extended their CEO, Les Moonves' contract by 2 years to go into 2021. Normally, this is more industry than nerd news, but I really like this guy. This guy is basically the reason why CBS went from, not being watched a lot, except to baby boomers, to being, really big in 18 to 49.
Was that a question?
What's
that?
Do
you think that Deadpool and Wolverine will ever be in the same movie?
No, not unless it's a different actor playing Wolverine.
Yeah, Wolverine's just died.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Well, that's been out for quite a while.
Yeah, I think Ryan Reynolds would love for that to happen, but I think Hugh Jackman said he was done. And after so many people loved Logan, I think he wants to end it on that note, on the super friggin' bleak note that we
Right.
saw. Oh, it's so depressing. But going back to Les Moonves.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting because he has definitely helped CBS be this powerhouse. So I mean, how much he makes is ridiculous.
Tom Hardy for Wolverine.
Nope, he's already going to be Venom, and he already was.
But Tom
Bane,
Hardy
so
would
I
have been a
think,
good Wolverine. That's
Yeah.
a good call.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
So get this. So last year he made $69.6 million.
Who was
Les Moonves, the CEO of CBS. So I'm excited. I think he's a really good. I think they constantly hit the household numbers, which is like the baby boomers, and they kind of have like an embarrassment of riches where they don't cancel a lot of stuff because all their stuff does really well.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, at this point, you might as well stick with the guy who's been making you all your money, who's basically been printing money.
Right.
So, do you watch a lot of video game based movies?
No, not really.
They haven't been. I just saw Assassin's Creed, and I don't know how you could mess that up, and they did.
Want to see that, but I just haven't seen it yet.
do not.
Yeah, it
I wouldn't recommend it
It
at all.
got really bad ratings.
It was.
I always tell him to, when they get bad ratings, just to go see it, because you never know. I've missed so many movies because I've heard, like, friends will tell me, "Oh, that movie was crap," and then I rent it and it's amazing. So, but a lot of times they're right, I guess.
So I agree. Tomb Raider does look kind of promising, even though the other ones I weren't a huge fan of. And funny, someone just asked about Uncharted, which is funny because that was my segue here.
Nice.
Tom Holland, who's Spider-Man, who's a new Spider-Man, he is going to play a young Nathan Drake for the Uncharted movie. It's kind of seen as like the prequel to what it was, to the Naughty Dog company's video game. Sean Levy is directing the film, so that should be interesting. But I mean, video game movies have not been great translation. The best video game movie.
I don't know why though. I mean, they have good stories.
I know. Well, they need to hire the people who've developed the story.
Right.
The best video game.
That's the case with most things. Yeah.
Everybody out there, let us know. Comment what you think the best video game adaptation movie is. I'm going to tell you right now what I think it is. It's the Street Fighter with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah?
Because it's unintentionally hilarious.
Right.
It is terrible to the point where by halfway through you're like, oh, I am in this. Like, I have to watch the... Like, it's so great. Them in the costumes from the video game, there's no reason.
Mortal Kombat, they said.
The first one is... I don't know. I'm still on the fence about the first Mortal Kombat. The second one, terrible. Yeah, and Kylie Minogue is in it. Oh, is in the Street Fighter.
Yeah.
But it's so funny. In Street Fighter movie, like... sometimes they're in the costumes, like in the game, but then halfway through, it's like the writers are just like, I have no idea how to get her in the costume. We'll just put Chun-Li in the costume for no reason. She's a slave, so we're gonna put her in her geisha outfit or whatever that was. No reasoning whatsoever. It's hilarious. Highly recommend. I think it's still on Netflix. So funny. Doom was terrible. I agree.
All of them are pretty bad.
Even Max Payne. I like Max Payne visually, but it had a problem. It never figured out if there was supernatural elements or not. Like,
how did Tom Hardy get chosen to play Sam in the Splinter Cell movie?
Oh, I don't know. We haven't. If that was earlier, we cover all the news from this past week.
Yeah, just this week.
So this is just this week's stuff. So I'm not really sure about that, but that would be very. He's too bulky though, maybe. So
The Rock only knows how to play The Rock.
Yeah,
that's true. A lot of actors play themselves. But
so here's something that's kind of interesting. Kind of digging into it. So, you know how we have bundles like Netflix, or you can a la carte. So Netflix, HBO, Stars, all of them. Well, now we're having major cable and satellite companies are going to start doing their bundles.
Finally,
we finally need a la carte.
Charged so much for cable for so many years.
For all channels that we don't want to watch.
Yeah.
What's on Home and Garden Network? Quick, pop quiz. You don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody watches
cares.
that show.
Nobody
Seriously.
cares.
So, I mean, I'm sure some people do, but make them pay for that separately.
Yeah.
Like, we need a la carte, but cable companies don't want to do this because they make so much money per channel.
Right.
And they're worried that, like, with a la carte, it's going to kill some channels that a lot of people don't watch.
And you know what? I've actually called them in and asked them, like, why can't you pick channels? And I've actually known some people that worked at, like, Time Warner or whatnot. And they always give me the same excuse. And I'm not sure if it's true or not, but they always say that ESPN is the one that raises the cost because they charge them so much money to have them.
Yep. ESPN bumps up the price for sure.
Yeah.
And if ESPN was by itself, it would probably be pretty expensive.
Yeah, they say ESPN just alone would be $50 or $60 a month, I guess, which is crazy. I don't know.
So
that's a strange fact.
So Viacom is talking about doing a bundle without news and sports. So just like MTV, VH1, Nickelodeon, Comedy Central, BET, for costing like $20 or less a month. AMC and Discovery are also talking about doing that, but not having sports on there because it's so expensive. Same thing with like ESPN, still not talking about it. 2 weeks ago, this was right before we started this show, David Zaslav, who's the CEO of Discovery, he thought his bundle would be about $10, which would be like a skinny bundle. But Bob Iger from Disney scoffed, saying it was such a low price, and that he thinks that wouldn't offer like any channel. Like he's basically thinking that's low, and but here's my problem with this. Okay, so these guys are like old school, which is not where the market is anymore. Or at least I should say Bob Iger, who's done a great job in Disney. But they're basically trying to price these super high. But yet, you have to understand a lot of people are cutting the cord. And they're going to stream. Yeah. They're going to Netflix. I haven't had cable personally for like 10 years.
I have cable and I'm like right on the verge of canceling it, honestly.
Not been super.
But I love all the I love all the TV shows,
but we have to get to a point where these people are going to lose business, and as long as they're fighting the trend, they're going to lose it. Because you're looking at live TV on like YouTube and other things, like you look at that and it's like it's going to hurt the cable. Like, already the ratings are low, so they need to get with the picture now instead of waiting for, like, a visionary like Apple who does all this shit, and then they try and, like, catch up to them.
Right. They're playing catch up. They're trying not to go out of business.
But they need to embrace the new technology, and they need to do the a la carte everything, because that's where it's going.
I think they didn't want to do that because they're limiting their money.
Yeah.
I mean,
because
they're literally saying,
the machine is so big, that they have to. And
they're being forced,
right?
I mean, it's
they're going to have to. They're going to,
they have to, or they're just going to go out of business.
But they should do it now instead of like waiting until they're running on fumes.
Well, I don't feel bad for them.
I don't.
I mean, they like I said,
not when you look at it like this
for years. And,
so it's
and then I hate how they give you a contract for say a year, and then the price doubles afterwards.
Yeah.
And then you have to play the game where you.
Because they all do it, so it's not like you can switch to somebody else.
You have to play this game every 2 years, and you cancel and you go with the other competitor, and vice versa. You go back and forth, and that's annoying. Mm-hmm.
The last place I lived, there's supposed to be competition. Like you're supposed to have two choices to keep competitive rates. The last place I lived in Los Angeles only had one cable provider.
Yeah,
so I couldn't even switch, and that's supposed to be illegal.
A monopoly?
It is, and that's illegal when it comes to cable. Is what it is. It's literally legal, but there was no other option. So my internet alone, first year $30.
Yeah.
The last year I lived there was $100 a month just for internet because I couldn't go with anybody else.
Yeah, they
need it nowadays.
They have you stuck.
So yeah. So they need to get with the picture. But but this news about the streaming and kind of the industry people kind of scoffing at it reminded me. I worked with a music producer a while ago, like old school jazz dude, and he was talking about how he just didn't want to do Spotify because you only get. He's like, nobody's buying jazz anymore. Nobody's buying CDs, blah, blah, blah. And he brings up how everyone's going to Spotify. But even him, he's like, I'm not going to put my stuff on there because I only get a fraction of percentage or whatever versus CDs. And it blew my mind because it's like, so you'd rather make $0 in album sales, which you're just complaining about, or something. But it's because of that percentage breakdown that they don't want to switch over, despite the fact that I'm not making any money over here.
Right.
So they need to get with the picture, guys. All right, moving on. Universal Pictures officially launched their classic movies monsters, like Tom Cruise's The Mummy this year. But they're calling
that's going to be a good movie.
They're calling that cinematic universe Dark Universe.
Oh, thank you. We are nerds, and You know,
we are. Yeah, and Silent Hill wasn't terrible. It was just different. It was
Silent Hill was good. That's a good call.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Good call. Whoever I did not see who that was.
He hates when I hit the table.
Oh, that's okay.
But I do like Silent Hill.
Yeah,
was good.
Silent Hill was very interesting.
Silent Hill, that's a really good call. I didn't think of that one.
So Universal Pictures are calling it the Dark Universe with all the different monster movies. The first one's The Mummy. Next year, the director of Beauty and the Beast, Bill Connon, is directing The Bride of Frankenstein, which will be coming out in 2019. Not this, but like February. Okay, so let's do good news and then bad news for the renewals and cancellations.
I always pick good news first.
So renewals. For HBO, Veep has been renewed for 7 seasons. Silicon Valley is... Or for
Lagoon
the 7th
Monster.
season.
What's Lagoon Monster?
No, the creature from the Black Lagoon, they haven't talked about that as potentially being a monster yet, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Silicon Valley was renewed for a 5th season, but TJ Miller is not coming back for that. He is gone.
I actually know him. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
He's a really cool guy.
Yeah, he's a really nice. We talked about NBC renewing all of the Chicago shows. Sadly, Chicago Justice is not going to get a 2nd season, so there's only going to be 15,000 Chicago shows on NBC instead of 15,001. But seriously, the Chicago brand's still going strong with 3 shows on the network. Netflix has decided to not go through with the 2nd season of The Get Down. Which, did you see that? That was like the
I heard because I think the budget is so high on that one.
Budget is stupid high. For the first season, it was $120 million.
That's insane. I've never even heard of a budget like that.
You know why they did it, though? Is because they wanted to be...
Netflix, give us like a quarter of that, we'll be fine.
Yeah, give us 12.
Yeah.
We'd be great. So, 10%.
Yeah.
So the reason with this, though, they want to get in the Baz Luhrmann business. He's that huge movie director. But, there's problems. They had budget problems. They had production problems. That's why they split the season up into 2 parts. So if you're saying, hey, guys, you're dumb, the 2nd season just came out, technically that's the second half of the 1st season. So that's out. But Baz decided, scheduling-wise, his heart was in movies. Mm-hmm. So he's moving forward with that. So because of that, Netflix wanted to be in his business, and he left. So sadly, it's not going to be a thing. So, and that's very rare. Most of the time, Netflix will renew a show, even if it's not doing that awesome, because they want to kind of keep the perception going that it's doing really well. Yeah. And that might be part of why Baz came out saying, it's my fault, is because Netflix is like, dude, we got to show that our stuff performs well, because they don't release metrics. Did you know that?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So you know how, on TV, they have, the ratings and things like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Because Netflix and Amazon aren't dependent on viewers, they have different metrics.
Right.
They don't release their numbers at all. So you don't really know.
Yeah, I've never seen numbers.
They'll let you know. So even a while ago when I was saying that Iron Fist, I think I brought it for show, that they say more people watched the opening weekend than any other show.
Which is strange, because remember when that first came out, they said it was the worst rated previewed show on Netflix history.
Yeah.
And then it came out and did great.
Yeah, and it was amazing. It's my favorite. Iron Fist is my favorite Marvel / Netflix show.
Again, to my point earlier, don't believe reviews. That's just my...
Yeah. So anyway, that's interesting. Was that?
No.
So we're to the box office numbers. So that's how we usually end this segment, is talking box office. Coming in at number 1, good news for it, is Pirates of the Caribbean. Sequel number 355.
700,000.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to someone's point, I don't know if they're going to bring Wolfman into this yet. I don't know even if they know that yet. I think Universal's being smart. Warner Brothers kind of released their phase 1 of DC right at the start, which I don't think was very smart, and I think in hindsight, they don't think so either, because they've been reconfiguring a lot of stuff in Phase 1. So I think Universal's probably being more strategic and doing little by little, which is smart. Because then they can switch stuff up, and nobody thinks they messed up because they're adjusting as they go, versus having that.
Absolutely.
We did not see the first, or the newest season of, well, I didn't, of Orange is the New Black. So I didn't see that.
No, I didn't see that either.
Not my jam.
That's not my jam either. I did watch the first season, and it kind of lost me after that.
Yeah. So, kind of going back to box office, Pirates of the Caribbean came in number 1 with a holiday weekend of $77 million, which is $5 million off what they thought it was going to do. But it's down.
Said the first Iron Fist was rated by trolls. That's funny.
Yeah. So it was actually down 31% over the last sequel. So it made 31% less, and it made 34% less than the one before it.
Yeah.
But it was made for international audiences. It'll probably still be very profitable for Disney internationally, between probably like $800 to $900 million. So that's why they do it. They do it international. We talked last week about Alien Covenant. Same thing here, where it's all about that international money. And actually, audiences liked it. The critics, we're going to talk about both Pirates and Baywatch today, but critics were terrible for both, and those probably definitely hurt their numbers for tracking and everything. But people who went and saw it actually gave it an A- cinema score, which means people who saw it.
That's true. How is
we will get to that. Spoiler alert. That is the second movie of the second place.
New Alien movies catching a lot of flack. Yeah, we talked about that last week.
Go
Check
back
out
to
our next our
you'll see
episode.
you'll see a rant.
We just ranted about.
I don't think Keira Knightley's in this one. I didn't see her name for this Pirates movie at all.
Yeah, I didn't see her in the previews either.
So people are like, why isn't it doing as well if they keep making it? And part of it, it might be the perception Johnny Depp's not really a PR darling right now.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the same old, same old. A lot of people kind of find things a little stale.
Yeah.
I think the reviews probably hurt it just a little bit. But like I said, it's really not tracking as bad as they thought. I just think it's sequel fatigue. And this summer
absolutely.
It's just kind of has the sequelitis. But the exception to the rule is Guardians of the Galaxy, which came in at number 2 this weekend. With a 4-day... Now, we have 3-day Cume, which is like the normal weekend, but because it's a holiday weekend, they also include the 4 days. So we're going to talk about that. It actually only dropped 43%. Last time it was in the 40s as well. So it's holding really well. It's in week 4, so it's been out a month. And it came in at $24.2 million, with a total of $337.6 million. So that's insane, but awesome.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 3 with the thud, sadly, is Baywatch, with a 3-day Cume of $18.1 million and the holiday weekend of $22.
I still want to see it.
I do too.
I still want to see it.
I do too.
You saw the reviews and you're like, let's not see it. But,
and I've heard people...
Honestly, I didn't...
Yeah.
Did we think it was going to be that great?
I was hoping for more of a 21 Jump Street and less of a Chips. But that's me personally. Chips tanked.
Chip was bad.
This one's pretty pricey. It cost $60 million, and it only made on its opening weekend, including Wednesday when it premiered, it only made $26.6 million, and it tested really high though. That's the thing. Like, it tested really high, but there's problems. So it's Baywatch, which was a super popular show, but the people under 25 don't really know it that well, because it's for our generation versus 25.
That's a sad truth.
That is so sad.
That's really sad.
We are old.
That hurts my
heart. So that was part of the problem.
Oh, they said Kira was in the international tour?
No, I don't
That's
remember
good. I hope
seeing
she is. I hope she is.
So it was that. It's a kind of sexist property. Like, when you look back, it doesn't age well with like the women running in slow motion in their suits. Not a complaint, an observation.
Right. Well, yeah. The old one was primarily women and David Hasselhoff.
Right.
It was just
it was
him
the hot woman with.
Yeah, and now
with David Hasselhoff.
Through the Rock.
But now what they're trying to do to kind of combat the property is
that
sexism.
made us feel older too. Sorry, so
I'm sorry.
It
is
what it is. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's fine. With the kind of the trying to combat the sexism angle of it. Definitely they tried to focus more on like, look at the beefcake dudes, like the hot dudes.
Yeah.
But it's a male centric movie, so I think that maybe drove some people away. But really, the thing that drove it away were the reviews. It actually came in 48%. It came in 48% less than what the tracking was showing, because both that and Pirates were actually tracking really well, and the reviews came in and hurt it. Yeah. So much so, studios are talking about Rotten Tomatoes is something I'm going to rant on here for a second. Okay.
Real quick, Pam Anderson was
Pam Anderson was on it. This is the movie.
Great.
Baywatch is the house that Pamela Anderson's swimsuit was built on.
Absolutely,
really.
Yeah. And
put that on the
career.
map. Her career as well is definitely mutually beneficial. So, and yes, it was a very self-aware, and
Yeah,
I think
missed that.
Yeah, they were
What
just
is
saying
that?
it was very self-aware, like of what it was, of Baywatch.
Oh, yeah.
So Rotten Tomatoes, let's talk about this. People look at Rotten Tomatoes score and they say like, oh, it got a 72%. This is going to get heady, so I apologize here. So 72% on Rotten Tomatoes does not mean that most critics gave it an average of 72%. It means 72% of critics gave it above a 60%. So it's very misleading. So if a movie does, it's very misleading. It just kind of like adds all the stuff together for an average. It doesn't mean that. So like when you see a rating that's like, oh, it got 100%, that doesn't mean all the critics thought it was perfect. That means all the critics thought it was better than it was bad.
Right.
It's very misleading, but a lot of studios are kind of getting tired of Rotten Tomatoes killing off their films. Because these types of like comedies, summer comedies, are supposed to be like critic proof. But this like killed their reputation. So some studios are talking about either not doing screenings for critics until the Friday, or just getting rid of them at all. Which would really hurt like that industry of like critics and not make them super happy, because the perception is if it doesn't have a Rotten Tomatoes score, that means it sucks if it wasn't screened for critics. But so it's going to be really interesting to see what critics do. But they're saying they think that's why these movies came below their projections. And that's also, no, that's different with Netflix. Someone asked, is that why Netflix went thumbs up and thumbs down? No, it's because when you have a 5-star rating, enough people can put low stars where they don't really want you to know what that is, because that does hurt their numbers. But that's more straight up like, what'd you think of it? The percentage versus what Rotten Tomatoes does. So number 4, coming into number 4, which was number 1 last week, was Alien Covenant. It plunged to 66%. This is not good word of mouth. People are abandoning ship of Alien Covenant. It only made, in the 4-day weekend, $13.1 million. Versus, remember,
like
last time was like 36. Yeah, it dropped 66%.
It was a rush script, probably.
So, and it made just under $60 million in this past 2 weeks. That's not good.
You know, I told Noah we had to see that right away, and
He did. I blame him. I blame him.
You told me we should go see Baywatch.
I did, but then I also texted saying maybe let's wait. And coming in at number 5 was Everything, which only dropped 47%, so it's still pretty good. It's a tiny film. It only costs about like $12 million, and it's already made $23.1 million total. So that's good.
I've heard a little bit about that.
It's a young adult property. It was inexpensive to make, and it did really well. So that is the weekly nerd news.
Okay.
So we're going to take a break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk live-action comic stuff, so stick around.
And we'll switch to mine, which is at live-action comic with no S.
So we'll see you guys.
And then we'll share it on Noah's as well, so you guys can see it.
So we'll see you guys in a little bit.
Hi, guys.
Hey, everybody.
This is part 2 of SuperCast. We're going to be talking to the Noah Kinsey today about the script Element X. We brought him along to be the script Element X. Oops. We brought him along to a little bit of volume.
Yes, a little bit.
It happens. But we're gonna speak to him about you know what he liked about the script, and why he was attracted to it and whatnot.
And how.
So well, go ahead. Talk to us.
Well, what do you want to know? So we talked about today was going to be the day where, we talked about that, or we talked about my involvement with live action comic, and a little bit about that. But so you want to kind of start at the beginning, like where we started talking?
Yeah, just basically we sat down, and the live action comics universe is kind of it's pretty large.
Vast.
It's vast, and most people, when I sit them down and explain it to them, it just like goes over top of their head, because it's like, I don't know, a mad scientist trying to explain his freaking crazy ideas, I guess.
Yeah. So basically, what happened is Todd brought me in with my background with creative development for TV and film. working for some production companies, and being a hired scriptwriter and script doctor. And just to kind of create a pilot. Because Todd had written a couple of the comics and was launching the series, and I mean he's the creator of end all be all for live action comics. So he wanted to bring me in to draft a pilot for that for some of the producers that we're talking with.
Yeah. About
making this a TV show. Because comic books and scripts are different when it comes to TV.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We had it only comic related, and then I had some meetings with some big companies that were talking TV right away, and and I instantly thought to call Noah and say, hey, we need to get this script written so we can get ready to show like a 4-season outreach of where the story is going to go.
Had to show that art.
Like we showed the arc to them, and so we're negotiating for the TV aspect of the live action comics.
Now, what's important with that is TV is so expensive to launch shows,
right?
So unless you're like Steven Spielberg or other people that are like bigwigs who can just get something greenlit with their name on it, most shows you have to show that has longevity, because that first season is super expensive to market, to produce, to develop, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So really you have to show that it has legs. And the first day meeting with this dude, all we did, because when you're coming in and you're hired to write someone else's idea, you need to learn what's going on in their brain and learn all about it. And because there's such a depth of story and themes and just different parts that go into all the different live action comic stories. The first time we met for a couple hours, I just basically took notes. I have my little iPad Air on my little keyboard, just listening.
And then I got sick of
to
myself
him talk. And he talked for a long time. And so a lot of what that is, because it's all in his brain, and it's just kind of coming out. So a lot of that is, how do we structure this? What's cool about the show is there are all these different characters that will have their own stories as well as kind of crossing over. So it was like, how we also want to develop how we could introduce those in the main story, which is the Element X story, which is kind of like the first major character that's going to be like TV and everything, and how to introduce the other characters in a way that will then spin them off to their own stuff. So that first meeting was just us talking.
Yeah, just me spilling my brain on the table, pretty much.
And then I also had him send me the first 2 comic books.
Yeah.
So then that way, because once again, script writing is different than writing comic books. And there's a lot of, you don't need to fill in the gaps as much for comic books, because, your imagination is like what goes from this panel to this panel. Your imagination kind of fills in the gaps. Whereas with TV,
you have to explain.
You have to show what's going on, and it has to make more sense. It has to be more grounded than what comic books can be because of the medium. So we were not wearing any capes right now.
I have a few capes.
He actually does.
I really do. I swear.
He actually has a couple of capes. Maybe next time
a couple
we'll
of the
wear
characters. Once we start showing you the characters' costumes, which we will pretty soon.
Yeah, each episode of this we'll be talking more and more about live action comics and
there's some pretty cool
stuff.
Costuming, and 2 of the characters have capes. 2 of the 6. So
gotta love those capes. So
yeah, you gotta have some capes.
Yeah, and then part of with the Element X story, we're starting from the beginning of when he first gets the powers. We'll have something sort of like utility belt, not quite like a utility belt, but we have some tricks up our sleeves.
There's a belt in there.
Well, you got to keep your pants up, of course.
Right, but there's a. I mean, you guess you could call it utility belt.
Sure.
Yeah, you could call it that.
It's a multi-purpose belt.
Yeah.
So, not everyone's gonna have capes.
Oh, they said no capes. Why no capes?
Some do, some don't. It just depends.
Well, only like 4 of the other characters don't have capes, so that's good.
So I took the 2 comic books and created a story for the pilot based off of that. And the comic books are going to be a little bit different than the show to keep it kind of interesting. But I wanted to keep, what was important to me as a writer is keeping the core essence of the character and what was important about the story that we're telling, and be able to put it in a script to actually. Meteor Man did have a cape, but we don't talk about that movie.
Yeah.
Even though I love it, there's a special place in my heart for Meteor Man. It's terrible, but in a wonderful way. It's really great in a very bad way.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I mean, what all do you want to talk about when it comes to script writing? I mean, we've talked about the development of it. We talked about that. I mean, what all do you want to talk about?
I mean, I just want you to tell the viewers like what you thought of it and the potential of it.
Yeah, I was excited because we're telling stories that, you know, there's a lot of themes and a lot of things that we're exploring that you guys would know about because it's outside of the comic book world, and we're finding ways to kind of fuse that with the comic book world. So it's really cool, you know.
Yeah, we're really excited about it. I mean, it goes all over the place, and the characters, there's females, there's 2 females, 4 males, so, you know, we're going to hit that female genre of superhero that hasn't really been tapped that much, you know. Obviously, Wonder Woman just kind of, you know, hit that genre, but I think that more needs to come out. I think that, you know, I really do. And new original superheroes need to be. I really believe that. I mean, we all love our Supermans and our Batmans and our Deadpools and all that. But I've always heard from many people that, you know, we're tired of seeing the same old characters.
Yeah.
And that's what was kind of getting my mind going, that, you know, create some new characters that, you know, we can build upon and
with fresh takes, fresh perspectives, and because we're all, I think everybody out there as well, you guys probably as well, are tired of origin stories that are just the same thing. Guy gets powers, guy figures out powers, guy has a first bad guy has a dilemma with a girl. I mean, it's just, that's how it is.
Yeah.
So so it was really important to me, and what I really liked about just the live action comic universe is a lot of these stories are things I've never seen before, and different takes and different themes, and I don't know how much we can talk about the different stuff we're focusing on, but it's things that you'll recognize, and it's things that people talk about, not in the superhero way, and we're just kind of bringing those 2 ideas together.
Yeah,
so it's really exciting.
The characters will make sense to you guys once you see them. You know, they have some biblical backgrounds and, you know,
some supernatural,
folklore, supernatural, like, in these stories all kind of tie that stuff together, and you know, that's why we have so much to work with.
Yeah, and there's something for everybody in all the different stories. Yeah, that's a little too on the nose, having Pamela Isley, her name be Poison Ivy.
Oh, right,
it's a little on the nose.
Right.
So we don't do that.
We don't do that.
Yeah, we're not like Element X, his name is Eric Xander, or anything like that, so it's nothing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's good.
That's good.
Like, if you guys have any questions, follow us on Twitter. I'm the Noah Kinsey. We got Live Action Comic. I'm Todd Christian.
Yeah. I am Todd Christian is my Twitter handle, and then Live Action Comic is this one that you're currently watching. And this is the Noah Kinsey on Twitter and Instagram.
Instagram and Periscope and all that stuff on Facebook. So find us, share all the stuff. Let us know what you think of like the show. If there's any of the topics we talked about in this or the Weekly Nerd News. We love the interaction we've had so far. We've had some really good feedback and really good conversations with people. So reach out.
It's been great. Ask us questions and let us know what you think.
Yeah, let us know the stuff you want us to talk about on the show. We really like hearing from you guys. You guys have say in what it is that we talk about when it comes to anything comic book and nerd related.
Yep.
All right. So we'll see you guys next week. We have a weekly show every week. And, That's it. Have a great week. Happy Memorial Day, everybody.
Bye.